Hi everyone, this is Randy from Randy's Crafty Creations, and I wanted to come to you today with a video on how I made these Sunburst cards. So I posted a couple of these online the other day, and I had a lot of questions on how I made them, so I decided to make a video for you and show you they're just fun, different cards to make. So I made this one with the tropical sheep paper. I made these two with the twinkle paper, but I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay, let me go ahead and set these aside. First thing you need is pack paper. Now, some people may say that I'm wasting, but what I did is I went through my pack of paper and I chose every sheet, because this is the way I need to do it to figure out my colors. I chose every sheet and I cut off a piece of, sorry, this is the Garden Impressions stack, and I cut off a piece of cardstock that's a 1.5 by 6 off of every sheet in the pack, and then I'm going to lay them out and figure out which ones I want to use. The good thing about our paper, and I went through this the other day on a video, is that it has our colors listed. So I know that if I use this paper pack, it goes with the colors Calypso Coral, Mango Melody, Melon Mambo, Night of Navy, Pacific Point, Petal Pink, Powder Pink, Soft Seafoam, So Saffron, Shaded Spruce, and Whisper White. So that I know if I use any of those colors, it'll go with this paper pack. And as you can see, I like it. I've cut it up a lot. So I already pre-cut some pieces. The color inks I'm going to be using for this card, and I don't have a sample of it yet because I haven't made it yet. We're going to do it together. Are So Saffron, Calypso Coral, Balmy Blue, Soft Seafoam, and Shaded Spruce. Now, in June, in our new catalog, we reformulated our ink pads. See how nice they stack on your desk versus these guys, the old ones. Now the old ones will still work. You don't need to switch them all over to the new ones, but I have to say I am liking the fact that they stack when I work, because I can use one color, flip it to the bottom, and then go to the next, and they don't fall off my table. So I do like the way they stack, and at some point I will be switching over to all the new ink pads. But anyhow, that was just a side note that I wanted to go there. All right, so I have all my pieces cut. Now, before I started filming, I did sit and decide which group of pieces I wanted to use. I like our double-sided paper. These 3 pieces I'm not going to use this time. I'm going to set them aside. So I was going back and forth between this group of paper, which I think I'm going to use because it's got the blues, and this group of paper. But for me, and I've always said it, anyone that's taken my classes knows, I just cut them all and then I sit on my table and I arrange how I want to use them. So I love this group too, and I'll probably make a card with those after I'm done filming. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use these guys. So we have our strips that are cut 1.5 by 6. So now what we want to do, and I'm going to do 2 at a time here, is we want to go ahead and we want to cut an angle, okay, because we want these angled pieces. So line up on your trimmer with your, and I'm using my Fiskars trimmer because it has a wire in there. It's a little bit easier for me to see. All right, and we're going to go ahead and cut them at an angle so that we have our angled pieces. Okay, and I'm going to do that with our other 2. Now, how many actual pieces that you need to cut, you know, it's totally up to you. Let's see how far we get with the ones we've got, and I'll decide if I need to go cut more or not. So let's go ahead and cut these. All right, so now we have our pieces. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put my trimmer down. So now I'm gonna grab a piece of Whisper White cardstock, okay? And I'm gonna start laying them on my Whisper White to see my layout, to see how I want them to go. And when I lay them out, I'm gonna leave a tiny little white space in between my colors, and that's gonna give us that stark, where are my samples? That's gonna give us that, that stark white line that you can see in this one. Okay, and you can make that line as wide or as narrow as you like. I like it narrow. On my mats, when I make cards, I like a very thin layer in between. So, and don't forget, your paper's double-sided, so you can flip it over and look at both sides. So let's see. I kind of like going that direction. I'm going to do the same thing down here, and I got to figure out what I want to do in here. So I'm going to make this one my focal point, I think. And then that, and then that. Okay, and then there's that again. So clearly I want to cut another piece of this designer series paper. So let me cut a couple of more and I'll be right back. All right, so total you're going to need, if you want just a little bit of spacing, you're going to need 8 strips of coordinating paper that is cut 1.5 by 6 that you're going to turn around and cut into pieces. Okay, so that's what you're going to need to be able to make your Starburst card. All right, so I have my pieces kind of sort of laid out. So now I'm going to go ahead and move them over. I'm going to keep them in the order I had them so I don't have to reorder them, because I'm going to glue my middle piece down first. And I can move these because they're going to go in the same order that these guys are. All right, so let me just move these over here. All right, so I'm going to glue this piece down first. So I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back. Okay, and I'm going to pick mine up and I'm going to line it up with this as center as possible. Okay, it's not going to be perfect and you don't want it to be. Okay, that looks pretty centered. So that's where I'm going to start. All right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and lay my pieces in. So let's go ahead and do this one. And the good thing about this again is it's double-sided paper, so you can choose. But I wanted to choose to just have the patterns. I don't want any of the flowers. So do you see how I just left that little white strip there? And this is gorgeous paper. I love both sides. I had a hard time deciding, but once you see the stamp set I picked, hopefully you'll understand why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. I want to leave a little bit more space here. So let me pull this one back up. Turn it back around. All right, and you're going to just lay these down, leaving that white space. All right, I'll finish down here and then I'll turn the camera off and do the top part and then come back. So you guys don't have to watch all of it. All right, so I'm gonna put this down here. Yep. All right, I got one more. So I started to repeat this pattern. It's okay that these aren't stuck down on the corner. When we put our stamped piece on, you'll see why. So now I've gotten this on and I have this little corner left over. So I need to decide which piece. So if I'm going to go in order, I can take a piece of this one, or I can take a piece of this one, but I'll decide on that in a moment. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put these on and I will be right back. All right, so now I have this piece and I have all these pieces glued on, and you're going to say you have white space here and here, but I'm going to show you what we're going to do in just a minute. I did forget to tell you, the piece that I'm gluing it to is a piece of Whisper White that is cut 4 by 5 1/4, your basic card topper size. We're going to adjust that in a little bit, so I'll go over the sizes again in a moment. But so now we have a piece that looks like this. All right, so you're going to get out your paper trimmer and I'm going to flip it upside down. All right, and I'm going to line up my guide wire and I'm just going to cut these edges off. All right, don't throw these away yet, keep them on your table. I'm going to cut those off. All right, so see I have this nice straight edge. All right, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Cut these off. Oh, let me cut these off first, because we're going to end up using one of these. And your adhesive may stick to your trimmer, but that's okay. It'll come off. All right, and then we're going to do this. Whoops, this one. And let's just get it in there. Okay. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to take all these scrap pieces off of here. Alrighty, so now we have a piece that is 4 by 5 1/4, and look at how the patterns go. All right, so now let's look and see. So I'm guessing this would be my next one. So let's find that scrap and see if it's big enough to use. If not, we'll use something else. Oh, check that out. It is just big enough. So we're going to go ahead and adhere that down, and that's going to finish it off. All right, so let's put this one down here. So it is just big enough to leave a white space. All right, let's find the other piece. Right here. Okay, same thing, it's gonna be big enough so that we're not wasting any of our designer series paper. Okay. Wonderful, can you guys see that? Sorry, I'm actually sitting and making this card, so I have to keep standing up to look at the camera to make sure I'm in focus. All right, so we've got those two pieces there. So let me go ahead and trim that off. And that is then our card base. All right, I need to do it this way. And you can trim it with scissors, but I'm going to tell you, I don't cut straight with scissors, so I'm not going to bother because I'm just going to ruin my project here. So that's why I'm using my trimmer. But if you are good enough to use your scissors, please, by all means, do whatever's easiest for you to keep it straight to be able to make this card. All right, so here is my card base, my Starburst card base. Isn't that pretty? And you can have your Starburst going any direction. So I was using it like this yesterday. All right, so let me go ahead and get rid of all these extra pieces. And now let's do our stamped medallion piece. All right, so I'm just gonna set this aside. I'm gonna bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat because I am using a photopolymer stamp set called Peaceful Reflection. Okay, I don't know if there's glare on that or not. It's really pretty. You can find that on page 16, I'm sorry, page 158 of your annual catalog, and it is $16. And what I love about it is the image. Okay, so this is what we're going to stamp. So I'm gonna get out my circle, and since I'll be stamping probably off the page, let's go ahead and put it on a piece of scrap paper. All right, and first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get out my Balmy Blue. Now Balmy Blue isn't a color in this paper pack, but it coordinates enough, and that's what I wanted to make my water out of. So I'm gonna use Balmy Blue. All right, and I'm just gonna put my water down here at the bottom. Okay, because I want my lily to come out of that. So now I'm going to get Shaded Spruce, and we know that's a color in here because it was listed on our paper pack. And I'm going to stamp my main design, and I'm stamping it a little bit to the right, I'm sorry, to the left, because I am going to cut this edge off to make it nice and straight. All right, so we're going to stamp that. And then there's some soft sea foam in our paper, so I'm going to put soft sea foam in our, I don't know what is this a lily? I don't know what it is. It's really pretty though. I don't know what it is. So I'm going to do some soft sea foam, and I'm going to stick that right in there. With our photopolymer stamps, it makes it easy to line them up to get your shading. Isn't that pretty? All right, so now I'm going to get my Calypso Coral to stamp my butterfly outline. And I'm going to do that right about there. Okay. And then I'm going to get my So Saffron and stamp the inside. Now, I didn't leave room for sentiments, so my sentiments will clearly be on the inside of this card, but I thought that this design went really nice with this paper. So that is all of our stamping. See how quickly that went? I love the way our stamp sets layer, but that went so quick. So this is what's going to end up on here. Isn't that pretty? I love it. All right, let me go ahead and cut the section of this off. Let me get rid of this. And let me cut that off to give it a bit of a straight edge. And I'm not going to do a lot. I'm going to do some. There. Just for a nice straight edge to go right there on the edge of our card. All right. Now, it said that this coordinates with Night of Navy and Pacific Point. So I brought out a piece of Night of Navy cardstock for this to layer on. Now, this is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. This is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to trim some of this down. But you need to know how much of a border you want. You know, how much do you want this to stand out? So I'm going to get my trimmer, and I am going to trim. So I am probably going to take this down to 3 3/4 by 5. You don't want to do it in advance because you want to make sure that you have some nice sharp edges. And this time I'm going to cut it this direction. So I'm going to cut it evenly. And that's going to give me my nice super finished edge. So yes, you're going back and forth with your trimmer a little bit, but that's okay. I don't mind trimming multiple times to get my finished product exactly the way I want it. So 3 3/4 by 5 is what I'm making this. All right, there we go. Oh no, there wasn't enough adhesive on that. Okay, I will fix that in 1 second. Let me fix that. Let me fix it. I'm gonna put that back on. And that's okay. Because there are no mistakes in paper crafting. None whatsoever. Perfect. All right. There. All right, so now I've got this piece down to 3 3/4 by 5. And let's see how it looks on here. Nice. That's what I wanted, was that nice big border section. Okay, and then we're going to mount that on the Night of Navy, and then we're going to mount it on white, and it's going to make all the rest of that white pop. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get our adhesive, and I'm going to put some on the back of here. You can pop dot it. I'm not going to pop dot it. I want to go ahead and have it flush, nice and flat on the card, because again, I'm trying to keep all those corners down. So I'm going to try to center that. There we go. All right. And you could even do it on very vanilla if you want to, because of the tones in this. But let's do this. Nice. All right, and let's go ahead and pop that on this. So it doesn't take honestly, what takes me the longest amount of time to make something like this is picking out all the paper. You missed the half hour it took me to pick out the paper before I started filming the video. But there you go. So there is the card that we made on top of the Garden Impressions paper. Okay, and let me grab my other ones, and I will make the one with the other design here shortly. So we have this one and this one and this one and this one. Just a nice different variation any way you look at it. So I hope that I explained that for you, and I'd love to see you post on my Facebook page the ones that you make using this. It makes me happy when people like the stuff that I've shown you, and that you go ahead and show me that you've done it. So again, thank you so much for watching. This is Randy from Randy's Crafty Creations. I will have all the supplies that I use to make these cards linked below. If you have any questions, please contact me at randycollins.247@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to help you. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.